Welcome to the You Are It podcast. My name is Alejandra Orozco. I am a social science researcher and an energy healer. You Are It has been created to support you in expanding your perception of reality. You are loved and absolutely deserving simply because you are, not because of what you have accomplished. Join me and be ready to transform your beliefs and approaches as you enter the flow of becoming one with your highest good and your highest purpose. Dear listeners, welcome back to You Are It. Or if this is your first time here, welcome. It is a joy to have you here. Today's episode is called About Time. Yes, I mean that in every possible way. It is about time, as in it is really, finally, completely time to talk about this. And it is about time, as in time itself is the subject. What it is, what it does to us, what we do to it, and what we might discover when we stop fighting it. I want to begin by briefly holding hands with our last episode, all at once, because what we explored there is the entry into today. In that episode, we look at non-causality. The idea that what we experience as a sequence of causes and effects is actually a deeper pattern, already whole, expressing itself in time. And we used an image that keeps coming back to me. Now, I have to pause here for a second, because this word, P-R-I-S-M, prism, with my Spanish accent, it really wants to become prison. And I find that both hilarious and slightly intriguing. Because for many of us, that is exactly what time has felt like, hasn't it? A prison. So perhaps my accent is pointing at something worth exploring. So in the last episode, we said, when light passes through a prism, the light is always whole. It is the prism that produces the sequence of colors. And then I said, time is the prism. But today, I want to go deeper. What if the prism is not only time, but the ego's perception of time? What if time is what happens when the light of consciousness passes through the prism of the ego and sequence all that past and future and not yet and too late is simply the spectrum on the other side? The light was never broken by that passage. It was always whole, appearing in form as a spectrum. The human is not a failed divine. The human is the divine, in form, in time, in sequence. That is the heart of everything we are going to explore today. So let us start where most of us live, with the pressure we all know, and with the relief of discovering that this pressure is not the truth of us. Let me start with something that happened to me recently. I know this is becoming a habit. Something so ordinary, it almost didn't feel like worth sharing. And yet, I realized it is significant. I was sitting quietly, not doing anything, just being. And for a moment, one of those moments that come more and more often to me lately, I could feel it. That thing underneath everything. The awareness of my own wholeness. The sense that I am. And that is enough. And everything is okay. And I am held. And I am loved. And I am loved. And then, in what felt like 3 seconds, I was somewhere else entirely. A thought came about money, about bills, about something I have not done, something I should have figured out by now. And I was suddenly in that other place. The place where I am behind, where I am not doing it right, where time is running and I am not running fast enough. 3 seconds from wholeness to something is wrong with you. And what I want to say to you with so much tenderness, because I know this is not only my experience, is this. That 3-second drop is not a failure of your spiritual practice. It is not evidence that you haven't grown enough, or haven't meditated enough, or haven't worked hard enough on yourself. It is the design of this reality, doing exactly what it was designed to do. Recently, I was moved deeply by a message from Angie Harris, a spiritual mentor and channeler, whose work resonated with me deeply. Because what she describes is something I recognized immediately, not only in myself, but in every person I have worked with. She talks about how this reality, the density of this third dimension, is architectured almost by design to keep pulling us away from the knowing of our own wholeness. Not through dramatic dark forces, but through the most ordinary things. The thought about the empty fridge, the distraction that comes right when you are about to receive something true, the belief you absorb so slowly across so many years that you don't even remember receiving it, that you are not quite enough, not quite there yet, not quite worthy of what you most desire. And the particular way this density works through time is this. It convinces us that we are behind, that the thing that will make us whole is in the future, that we have not yet done enough to deserve peace, that time is the measure of our adequacy, and we are perpetually running short. And what I have noticed in myself is that those thoughts of judgment, the ones that arrive right when you are most in alignment, are not random. neither dramatic. They pull you out just as fast. The density of this reality is that precise in its design, and you are that powerful in your sensitivity to it. So let me say this very clearly, because I want this to land as relief and not as another thing to be anxious about. The pressure you feel around time is not the truth of you. It is a layer of reality you are moving through. It is the prism doing its work. And the light, you, is never diminished by it. But if the pressure is not the truth, what is time really? This is where it gets fascinating. Let us walk together through something that genuinely fills me with wonder. Because what is actually happening beneath the surface of our experience of time is so much more extraordinary than what we were taught. And perhaps the length of this episode itself will be part of that shift. My growing willingness not to compress experience into time, even when that means going a little bit beyond my usual format. I reference a few traditions here because they are all pointing at the same thing from different directions. And when they arrive together, something clicks. Let's start with the Hermetic tradition, which many of you know from earlier references to the Kybalion. The Hermetics teach that the universe is mental, that all of reality exists as a creation within the universal mind. And from that absolute perspective, the universe, including time, is described as a thing of time, space, and change. Meaning, time is a feature of the created, not of the creator. Time belongs to the relative plane. It is real within the mental creation, but it is not the ground of reality. It is a dimension within a larger dimensionlessness. And the Kybalion also teaches the principle of rhythm. Everything has its tides, its ebb and flow, its measured motion. That rhythm manifests in everything, in nature, in nations, in our mental states. Which means time, when we feel it accurately, it is not a straight line running away from us. It is a rhythm. And rhythm can be felt. Rhythm can be moved with, not against. Now, let's go deeper to Dr. David Hawkins, whose book, The Eye, E-Y-E, of the Eye, which I love, give us one of the most precise and liberating descriptions of time I have ever encountered. Hawkins says, sequence is an illusion created by the perception of the ego. The ego is the point of observation that processes the infinite into the finite, the non-local into the local, the non-linear into the linear. And in that translation, that processing, it produces the experience of time, of place, of duration, of before and after. Time is not happening to you from the outside. Time is what the ego produces as it translates wholeness into sequence. And then he says this, which I want you to really let in. The eye of the self is the eye of God, witnessing the unfolding of creation as now, not as past, not as future, as now. This is what Hawkins means when he describes a staircase of consciousness in relation to time. At the level of the linear mind, the everyday ego, time feels like pressure, like depth, like a current that is always moving faster than you are. You are always behind it, or running from it, or fighting it. As consciousness rises towards higher levels of awareness, as we go up on the ladder, time begins to soften. It becomes more like a rhythm than a race. Synchronicities appear. Things arrive at the right moment. Not because you engineer them, but because you are increasingly available to the whole pattern that was already there. And at the level Hawkins calls the self with capital S, what the Vedantic tradition calls Brahman, the universal consciousness, there is no time at all, kind of at the top of the ladder. That which is formless is non-local and outside time. The self does not experience time. It witnesses now, always, only now. Eckhart Tolle, whose work many of you know and love, says it simply. Time is not precious at all because it is an illusion. What is precious is not time, but the one point that is out of time, the now. That is precious indeed. And he says something else that I think is the most honest thing about why we suffer around time. To the ego, the present moment hardly exists. Only past and future are considered important. And without the past, the ego asks, who are you? That is the question under all time anxiety. Not, will I have enough time? But, who am I if I am not my story, my history, my trajectory towards a future self who finally has it together? And there is one more voice I want to bring in here, because he turns the whole thing around in a way I find sweet and genuinely empowering. Alan Watts, the philosopher and teacher, who spent his life making Eastern wisdom feel alive and accessible in Western minds. He offers a powerful image. Imagine a ship moving through the ocean. Behind it, a wake. That trail of white water is spreading out and slowly dissolving back into the ocean. Now, what drives the ship? Not the wake. The wake is what the ship leaves behind. It tells you where the ship has been, but it has absolutely no power over where the ship is going. Watts says your past is the wake, and the wake does not drive the ship. But we live as though it does. We live as though what happened before is the cause of what is happening now. As though the trail behind us is pulling us forward, or holding us back, or explaining everything about where we are. But Watts turns it completely around. He says, what is always the source of the world is the present. The past doesn't explain a thing. The past trails behind the present like the wake of a ship and eventually disappears. Now is the creative point of life. The present creates the past, not the other way around. And then he says something that you could say took my breath away. He says, watch the flow of music. The melody, as it is expressed, is changed by the notes that come later. Think about that for a moment. A melody you have heard 100 times, and then one day a new note arrives, or a key change, or a resolution you didn't expect, and suddenly the whole song means something different. The earlier notes didn't change, but their meaning did, because a later moment reinterpreted everything that came before it. Which means every moment you return to presence. Every moment you choose love over judgment. Every moment you recognize your wholeness, even inside the density. That note changes the melody of what came before it. Your past is not fixed. It is being continuously rewritten by who you are becoming now. Watts calls this the birth of responsibility. Not the weight of responsibility, the birth of it. Because if the present is the source, then you are not a victim of what happened. You are the one right now determining what it means. You are the ship, not the wake. Now, I want to bring in a message from the Blue Avians, channeled by Ottavia Basiles. I want to share some of the images from this message because they are among the most beautiful descriptions of time I have encountered. And they do something the philosophical frameworks alone cannot do. They let us feel it. The Blue Avians describe your life as a library of luminous books. Every moment you have lived, every emotion, every scent, every sunrise is stored within you as a complete reality of its own, not a memory of a thing that happened and then ended. A complete reality, whole, alive, waiting for your attention to awaken it. And they say, when you arrange these books on a shelf, you see a progression. Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3. That order helps the mind make sense of evolution. But the books themselves were always there, side by side. Linear time is the mind's clever way of creating meaning through sequence. Without it, lessons could not unfold as stories. Growth would feel instantaneous and incomprehensible. Time gives consciousness a structure to explode itself gradually. And then the following, which, although I was already aware of, I felt it more powerfully. They said, all frames exist simultaneously, like still images on a film reel. The projector is your awareness, casting motion onto what is inherently still. The projector is your awareness, which means you are not inside time, being carried by it. You are the awareness through which sequence appears. They also say something that connects directly back to our prism image. And let's ponder on this for a moment because it is so precise. They say boredom, that flatness we sometimes feel, that sense that nothing moves, is not the absence of a stimulation. It is a stored energy, life force that is circulating in small loops instead of rising and spiraling. What we call stagnation is not the absence of time moving. It is energy that has stopped moving within us. And the deepest reason life feels unchanged for so many of us, they say, is our relationship with time. We are taught to be in constant conflict with it. We believe it is running fast, stealing youth, limiting possibility, never enough. And because we fight time, we feel pursued by it. But time is not doing anything to you. Time does not age you. Time does not pressure you. You are moving through focus. And focus is the true sculpture of time. In episode 33, we said, time is the prism. Wholeness enters as light and appears on the other side as sequence, as color, as A, then B, then C. Now we can say something more. The ego is the prism, and the light passing through it, the light of consciousness, of the self, or what Hawkins calls the nonlinear, what the Vedantic tradition calls Brahman, what the Blue Avians call the eternal now. That light was never broken by its passage through the prism. It was never divided. It simply appeared as a spectrum. The spectrum is not a diminished light. It is the light, fully expressed in every frequency simultaneously. And this might be the most important thing I shared with you today. All of this means that you, in your very humanness, in your wills and your doubts, and your 3-second falls from grace, you are not a diminished divine. You are the divine, fully expressed in this frequency, in this form, in this sequence. Now, becoming aware of this in the mind is one thing, but how do we actually meet ourselves here, in the ordinary moment, with this knowing of our humanity and our divinity? The spiritual coach, Jantje Bartels, speaks directly to this. She says, by you being present, by you being in your heart and not in your mind, that is how you expand. That is how you transcend your limitations. Not by fighting them, not by solving them, not by finally becoming the version of yourself who has figured it all out, but by returning again and again and again to the heart, to presence, to now. The Blue Avians offer this. There is only this moment, not as a concept, as a practice. Each time your mind moves into the past or leaps into the future, gently return. There is only this moment. And then ask yourself quietly, if there is only this moment, who are you? You are not your story. You are not the sum of your memories. You are not even the continuation of who you were a moment ago. You are fresh each moment, a new configuration of the universe, becoming aware of itself. And when this is understood, really felt, not just known, life stops feeling like something you are behind on. Not because more happens, but because you stop living from accumulation and begin living from presence. And presence is endlessly alive. Now, allow me to share the most compassionate thing I can offer today, which is also a paradox. This reality, with its density, is designed to keep pulling us from our wholeness. Its extraordinary skill at making us feel behind. This reality is not our enemy. It is not a mistake. It is not something to transcend and leave behind like a bad dream. It is the prism, and the prism serves the light. Every experience of limitation, every fall into self-doubt, every moment of time pressure and not enough. This is the spectrum doing exactly what spectrum does. Making visible in sequence what was always simultaneously whole, giving consciousness a structure to explore itself gradually, allowing the divine to know itself through form, through friction, through the extraordinary intimacy of being human. The Vedantic tradition says, Maya, the illusion, the veil, reveals that the world we perceive through conditioned minds is not ultimate reality, but it is a path through it. The wave is not separate from the ocean. It is the ocean, expressing itself in form, in motion, in the beautiful and temporary shape of a wave. You are not separate from the source of all this. You are not behind it. You are not running to catch up with it. You are it, expressing through this prism, in this sequence, as this color of the spectrum. So, the invitation of this episode is not to stop having beers. It is not to never again spend 3 seconds in self-doubt. It is not to leave the human behind in some spiritual upgrade. No. The invitation is to love the human, to meet yourself in that 3-second fall with the same tenderness you would offer someone you love completely. To say, I see you. I see how convincing this feels. I see how this density is designed to pull you here. And I also see underneath that, through that, as that, the light that you are. This is what it means to embrace your human while inhabiting your divine. Not transcending the human, not bypassing the bills or the doubts or the fall, but recognizing that none of it, not one moment of it, was ever outside of the wholeness. The spectrum is the light. Every color is the light, even the ones that look like shadow. I want to leave you with what the Blue Avians offer as an image and a practice. The future was never ahead of you. It was simply waiting for your attention, right here in the endless now. Not something to reach, something to meet, not something to create, something to allow, not something to earn, something to remember. You are whole. You have always been whole. the sequence you have been living, every chapter, every color, every ordinary and extraordinary moment has been wholeness, expressing itself through the beautiful architecture of time. And the next time you feel that 3-second fall from presence into pressure, from wholeness into not enough, maybe you will remember this. Not to fight the fall, not to judge it, but to recognize it with a small and loving smile as the prism doing its work. And the light that passes through it is still whole, still you, still here. It is truly about time. I love you all absolutely dearly. Me llamo Alejandra, and you have been listening to You Are It. Talk to you again in the first week of July. Rumi once said, "You search the world for treasures, but the real treasure is yourself." This is the essence of our message on the You Are It podcast. You are the treasure waiting to be discovered or enjoyed. You are the flame that never consumes itself and the light that shines everywhere. Now you are home. Please know that you are most welcome. Stay tuned as we look forward to sharing something of value on every episode.